Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a really informal, honestly, probably mumbly video review while I clean my concealed carry gun, which is a Glock Model 42. And I'm just going to talk about it, tell you my thoughts, things I like, things I don't like, and tell you kind of the story about it. So, first of all, you see right now, this is a Vetter, I believe it's called the Rapid Tuck hybrid holster. So we have the leather backing, Kydex front, nice steel clip, 1.5 inch on there. And this is the holster that I've been using for probably about 9 months. I've been using this holster, and it's not perfect, but it's what works for me. When it's not on the body, it does lack some, well, there, now it's not wanting to come out too easily, but the retention's not great when it's off body, but when it's on body, it really does secure up pretty well, and I don't really have any retention issues when it's on body. So this weapon already was safety checked, but that's first step in cleaning, so we'll go ahead and do that and disassemble. So before I got this gun, I was carrying a Springfield XDS 3.3 inch 9mm single stack, and it was a good gun. I liked a lot of things about it, but I felt it was too heavy for what it was, and so I wanted to look into other options. And the Glock 42 had always intrigued me, just because it's so small and lightweight for still having the feel of like, hey, you know, like you have a solid handgun. You have a Glock, you know, if you will, combat handgun that does everything a combat handgun should in a smaller, lighter, and yes, a little less punch to it with the 380, but still, it does everything you would want a handgun to do while being super small, ultra lightweight. And I loved the way that this polymer grip frame felt in the hand. This deep beaver tail here, it just felt so great anytime I would pick one of these up at a gun store or anything like that. So I was like, you know, I'm really interested in it. So I went to my gun store and I held one, and I was like, yeah, man, I really do like this 380. It's a little bit more expensive. It's not the greatest ballistically, but I really think I'm going to enjoy this gun that much that, you know, even though there's like the Glock 43 and whatnot, you know, I want to try out the 42. I want to give it a go, and I want to see what it's all about. At the time, I had not shot one, but I have held them a bunch. And then I decided, yep, I'm going to get one. And I went ahead and placed a special order for this Lipsy's exclusive flat dark earth frame. Okay. And so about a week and a half after that, after I placed the order, it came in. And so I went back to the gun shop, and I picked it up, played around with it a little bit, and I was like, yep, okay, everything checks out. Did my background check, and I took it home. And then a few days later, I took it out to the range, and I was just using all OEM parts and some Remington UMC green and white box, 380, 95 grain full metal jackets. And I shot 100 rounds my first day shooting this pistol. And at 10 yards, my grouping was about that big. There was like 1 or 2 flyers out, but we're looking at probably like a 4 to 5 inch group at 10 yards. And I wasn't necessarily shooting all that slow either. You know, it was kind of like, I'm just shooting. You know, there's a small concealed carry gun, and I'm not I'm trying to be accurate, but I'm not like, you know, necessarily bullseye shooting here. I'm just trying to get a feel for the gun, see how it handles, feel the recoil impulse and whatnot. And I'm shooting this thing, and I'm just like, wow, this is incredible. You know, it's small, it's lightweight. The trigger wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't terrible. But the groupings for conceal carry type application at 10 yards, totally satisfactory, especially for the rate that I was shooting and the I want to say almost minimal amount of effort that I was putting into it, and all my hits were within a satisfactory target zone, you know. So I left the range that day very, very ecstatic about my new Glock 42. So then I was like, yeah, I like this. I want to dig a little deeper with this. So I was able to source some federal HST hollow points. You know, I was doing a lot of research on different 380 loads, and by most of the research I had done, it seemed that the statistically best loads were anything with the Hornady XTP hollow point. So like Precision 1 made some, Hornady made some, there was like Hornady American Gunner and stuff, and that seemed to make the penetration standards. But the federal HSTs, just every video of them, they just, as you would expect from an HST, they just expanded so wonderfully that it was hard to ignore, you know. And my mindset with this is, yes, this is a smaller caliber. You're not packing as much punch as a 9mm, and if someone told you otherwise, they would be lying to you. But if we can, you know, pretty much guarantee that that bullet is going to stay within the intended target as long as we make a hit, that's a little bit of confidence boosting. And at the same time, regardless of if we're penetrating, you know, through all of the central organs and whatnot, if you're still hitting someone with foot-pounds of energy and you're putting holes in them, you know, if you can make your shots quickly and accurately and whatnot and do your part everywhere else, in most situations, especially situations that I'm realistically going to come across, is that really an issue, you know? And I really don't think it is. So I feel very comfortable carrying my Glock 42 with the federal HST, even though the penetration doesn't quite seem to meet FBI standards, you know, because after all, I'm not some door-kicking FBI agent or SWAT team guy. I'm just an everyday dude, just carrying a gun to protect myself from, you know, whatever bad situation may come my way. And I really feel as long as I can make my hits, which I feel totally confident with this gun, and I can make my hits, then, you know, the rest is going to take care of itself, you know. And so yeah, I continued to take it out to the range and practice with full metal jackets. I put probably about 50 to 100 federal HSTs through to confirm that they were reliable and functioning and whatnot. And now I am remembering, before the HSTs, before I was able to find those, I did have to use some SIG V-Crown ammunition, and I would not recommend that ammunition at all in the 380 caliber. At least it was terrible. The hollow point opening on that is so wide. Depending on how you rack the gun, it actually could induce a malfunction. Now, I shot probably 80 to 100 rounds of that stuff and never had a jam actually while firing, but I just absolutely, cannot recommend that SIG V-Crown ammunition for the 380 caliber. With it just seemed like the quality control was way off on it, and there's other videos speaking about that. You know, I would shoot one round and it would feel totally different in recoil and blast and all that than the next round, you know. And I wish at the time I would be able to have shot steel, because I feel like that would be a good indicator, is seeing how much that plate moves and if it moves more one shot than the next. But just the consistency was pretty terrible with that SIG V-Crown. So if you have a 380 or a Glock 42 or something like that, just avoid that SIG V-Crown ammo. It really doesn't seem very good. But anyway, the first holster I got for this was also made by Vetter. It's not the one that I'm using now. It was the Light Tuck, and I started carrying this gun appendix, and I mean, it was pretty much as comfortable as you could get. doing something like that. But even still, I just don't find appendix comfortable. It definitely has some advantages. Anybody that tells you it doesn't, you know, they're lying. But it also definitely has some disadvantages, you know, and there's a lot of people that talk about that as well. And for me, it just kind of became a comfort thing. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try out one of the hybrid holsters. So I got this Vetter Rapid Tuck, and I run it right at 3 o'clock, and it is absolutely incredible. I love it. It's such a small gun that I don't have any printing issues, and it's just, it's wonderful. So yeah, I continued to shoot the gun, and one part I did end up changing out almost immediately was the sights. Here I have Trijicon 3-dot bright and tough. In hindsight, I kind of wish I went Trijicon HD, but these work great. And Trijicon, great sights. They glow nicely. Steel construction. I installed them myself, and you know, no complaints there. They installed just fine. I did have to do some slight filing for fitment, but no issues there. And so yes, Trijicon sights. And then another part I changed out was the trigger connector bar here. I put the Ghost Edge 3.5 pound trigger connector in there, and that just the Glock 42 M43, and I believe the 43X now, and the 48 also, just this whole slimline series, they tend to have a rather abrupt, if you will, wall and break on the wall, and that would traditionally be considered a good thing. But with these guns being as light as they are and as small and thin as they are, it can really cause you to jerk that gun, and right-handed shooters would typically jerk low left, you know. So this I'll show you when I get this all reassembled here, but this Ghost trigger connector, it lightened the trigger up just a hair, probably only about a half pound, if even, really. It wasn't much, but the smoothness of the pull makes it a lot easier for me to get accurate, consistent shots. And yeah, so I love this gun, and I practice with it a fair amount, and it meets my standards. I reload my own ammunition now for the 380, and so I have had a few jams working in the reloads related to you know, reload adjustments and whatnot. But shooting all the factory ammo that I've shot through this, I've never had a jam with factory ammo, and I've never had a jam with, you know, reloads that were fully developed. So this gun, I have no issues with the reliability. I will, however, note that there has been occasional issues with other people who have shot this gun limp wristing it and inducing malfunctions that way. And that is, I wouldn't say a problem, but that is something that is relatively common and known about with the Glock 42. So you definitely need to have a good grip on it if you're a like a weaker wrist shooter and whatnot. I don't even have to think about it. For me, it's just, it's totally natural. I'm not gripping this gun excessively at all. But yeah, like I said, it works perfectly for me, you know. And I guess the main reason I wanted to make this video is, you know, even in the day and age where there's new guns, new wonder guns like the Sig Sauer P365, holding 10 plus rounds of 9mm, and there's other guns like the Springfield Hellcat. I still rock my Glock 42. Why? There's 3 reasons. 1, the size. It's still smaller, thinner. 2, the weight. It's definitely lighter. And you start racking in 10 rounds of 9mm into a magazine, you know, you're going to make a lightweight gun have moderate weight pretty quickly, you know. And so, yeah, number 2, the weight. And number 3, I can handle the 9mm just fine. You know, I have a .357 Magnum revolver. I have all kinds of, all kinds of, you know, 45s and whatnot, and they're all great. But, you know, there's something to be said when, you know, I'm doing mag dumps on this gun. I can do mag dumps and maintain on target the entire time. And there is definitely something to be said for that. There is definitely value in that. And yeah, it's an amazingly controllable little handgun, and it's just a blast to own, a blast to shoot, and it's a joy to carry. This isn't a gun that's gonna weigh you down and you're gonna just be like, oh, I can't wait to get this gun off when you get home. This is a gun that is gonna be there for you when you need it, and it's gonna work for you. It's gonna be reliable, and it's gonna be durable. It's a gun that you can go to the range and shoot, and by the time you can practice, and it's not gonna be worn out springs and broken this and broken that by the time you feel you're good enough to use it to defend yourself. You know, this is a pistol that will last. This is a pistol that will hold up. It's a pistol that, you know, I'm struggling a little bit here, but in general is relatively simple and easy to clean and maintain. You know, here I just completely broke this gun down and cleaned every little part of it, and you don't even have to go that far for your basic maintenance. I like to keep this thing extra clean though, because it takes care of me. I want to take care of it, you know. But this thing, it's just really great. So if you're sorry if you're recoil sensitive, or you're just Glock 42 curious, or you need that ultra thin, ultra small gun that you can just carry every single day, you know, go ahead, take a look at a Glock 42, because I have one and I absolutely love it. Let's take a look at this trigger pull here. So go ahead, pull here. We kind of hit a slight wall, but with that ghost edge trigger connector, it just smooths right through to the brake. But see, some people wouldn't like that, and they'd say, oh, I don't know when it's going to break. And there is some truth to that. At the same time, when you're shooting like you're shooting defensively, you shoot that first shot relatively quickly, and you're just coming to the reset, and you're breaking it pretty quick. So the bigger deal is not having the disturbance, you know, jerk your sight picture. Because it's so smooth, you don't have that bump where it snaps at the wall, cracking your shot left, right, up, down, etc. So yeah, that has been a super long video. I'm going to post it anyway. Go ahead, drop a comment if you made it all the way through and let me know what you think. But I love my Glock 42, and I think the 380, the Glock 42, they get a lot of slack. They get a lot of shit talked against them, but, you know, there's something that I genuinely believe this brings to the table that just about no other handgun on the market does. And there is not a single other concealed carry type handgun that I would trade this for. That's the honest truth. So go ahead, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you made it through the whole video. Thank you for watching, and I really appreciate it. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye.